What is the connection between an ordinary person living in Britain and what is happening in Palestine? This is what we're going to explore. How does our actions as consumers in this country affect what happens to the Palestinians? We will start by looking at what is actually happening in Palestine. What does the occupation mean to ordinary Palestinians? How does it touch their lives? Palestine is an agricultural society. The people work hard throughout the year, cultivating the land to produce a harvest, which in return sustains them. We will see how their harvest is stolen from them, and how their land is stolen from them, and we will follow the stolen produce of Palestine to the UK, on the way exposing the Israeli companies that are involved in its export. And we're going to be looking at the supermarkets that stock the stolen produce. We will reveal how Israel especially produces an early crop of dates in time for Ramadan, which with the collaboration of Muslim shops in this country, it sells to Muslims who, unaware, break their fasts with stolen dates, making a mockery of their faith. Finally, we're going to look at what we can do about it, how we can actually start supporting the Palestinians. Just to give a very small example of how the Israeli occupation affects the day-to-day lives of ordinary Palestinians, let's have a look at the story of Zainab Turabi. She is a 60-year-old woman who lives alone with her sons in the small village of Sarah on the West Bank. From her home, she can see her olive grove, but in order to reach it, she has to cross a road that now only Israeli settlers and the Israeli army are allowed to use. You see, 7 years ago, an armed Israeli settlement was built on top of the hill next to her olive grove. Like any fortress, Israeli settlements tend to be built on hilltops, from where it's easier to terrorize the population below. Now the road to the settlement cuts Zainab from her land. To cross that road, she needs written permission from the district command office, which is difficult to get. 2 years ago, she managed to get permission to go to her land for the olive harvest. But when she arrived, the Israeli settlers had already taken most of her olives, and only one basket was left for her to fill. The settlers, not content with stealing her olives, returned and burnt down her trees. The next time Zainab tried to visit her olive grove, the Israeli settlers threatened her with guns and dogs. They said if she ever came back, they would kill her. Zainab Turabi is now too frightened to even dare try approaching her land. This is a glimpse of the anguish one Palestinian woman lives with. Every Palestinian has their own story of suffering. You see, the settlers were only obeying their religious leader, Rabbi Mordecai Eliyahu, the former chief rabbi, who in 2002 passed a religious edict urging Israeli settlers to steal Palestinian food produce. Realizing that stealing their food and livelihoods is the first step to ethnically cleansing the Palestinians from the land, he had declared that the fruit from the trees planted by Gentiles on the land of Israel does not belong to the Gentiles, but is the property of the Jews. So it is not considered stealing when Jews rob Palestinians. Such pronouncements have led to the theft of thousands of whole olive trees. On 15th June last year, armed colonists from the settlements of Amiad, Shiloh and Ella came down the hill to the Palestinian village of Karyuth near Nablus and uprooted 380 olive trees which had been planted by the Palestinian villagers some 50 years ago, and simply stole them. 300 of them were owned by a 74-year-old Palestinian farmer, Ahmed Shahada Makbil. An olive tree can take 12 years to bear fruit. The stolen trees are irreplaceable. The colonists have since replanted the stolen trees in the illegal Israeli settlements. And this isn't the first time. The last time the armed settlers from Shiloh came down and stole 800 olive and almond trees and grape vines. And the time before that, they uprooted all the productive olive trees from the 4 acres of land belonging to Hamad Badawi Abdul Hay. And not satisfied with stealing his trees, they then went on to steal his 4 acres of land and annexed it to the Shiloh settlement. Hundreds of thousands of trees have been destroyed by the Israelis. The Palestinian Ministry of Agriculture recorded 374,030 Palestinian trees being uprooted by the Israelis just between September 2000 and June 2001. The video, Shame of Urtus, which was made by peace activists, shows the destruction and confiscation of a Palestinian apricot orchard which sustained the village of Urtus near Bethlehem. The land is stolen to support the nearby illegal Israeli settlement of Ephrata, which is on the hilltop above the valley. Palestinian farmers watching helplessly as their livelihoods disappear in front of their eyes, crushed by an Israeli army digger, while soldiers are seen laughing as they watch a Palestinian farmer struggling to rescue one young apricot plant from destruction. Ephrata is an English-speaking colony with many of its 8,000 armed settlers having arrived from the USA. Their chief rabbi himself immigrated from Manhattan. Apparently the valley is needed for their sewage to pass through, so the Palestinians must sacrifice their livelihood. The video ends showing the Palestinian farmer weeping for his destroyed fruit trees, and yet defiant, he swears by Almighty God that one day he will plant his orchard again.
والله بالربي بنحلم حالنا بنيجي نزرع الشجر اقسم بالله وبنطلب منهم ساعه بس نقعد شيك بيقولوا فيش معنا بس بيروحوا بالشجر وبيروحوا على الخمرات والبيارات